he whispered, lips too close to my ear. I'm not gonna hurt you. Just stay still. Stay still? Panic shot through me like ice in my veins. I struggled against him, every instinct inside me screaming for distance, for escape. Just let me hold for a minute. I shook my head violently, trying to free my mouth, to say anything. But his hand stayed in place. When I struggled, he was already over me, his hand firm on my mouth, the other gripping my waist tightly. His knee pressed into the mattress, pinning me down. His eyes locked on mine like I was something he deserved. God, the first time I saw you, he whispered again, lips near my cheek. I knew you'd feel like this in my arms, so soft, so warm. Jungkook, that bastard doesn't even know how lucky he is. I froze, nausea curling in my stomach as his hand slid up my waist under my shirt, brushing too close to places he should never go. I always envied him, you know? His voice was bitter almost. We grew up together, but somehow nature just picked him. He always gets what I want, always. That was it. I didn't wait. I turned my face sharply and bit down on his hand with every ounce of strength, his palm ripped away from my mouth as he hissed in pain, pulling back just slightly. Get off me. He flinched, startled, backing off just a little, but that was enough. I shoved at his chest with all the force I could muster and scrambled out from under him, falling off the bed and hitting the floor hard. He stared at me like I did something wrong, like I overreacted. But I didn't wait to see what he'd do next. I stood up, bolting to the nearest door, the bathroom, and slipped inside, slamming it shut behind me so hard the mirror rattled. My fingers found the lock, twisted it until I heard the click. Safe, maybe. I slid down against the door, the cold tiles biting into my legs, but I couldn't feel anything anymore. My phone was in the room. Jungkook was in another city, and I was trapped in this tiny space alone, completely alone, my arms wrapped around my knees, pulling them into my chest. I cried, for I don't even know how long, maybe an hour, maybe more. My sobs were quiet, muffled by the sleeve of Jungkook's oversized shirt. I didn't want anyone to hear. I didn't want him to hear. Eventually, the tears stopped, not because I felt better, but because I had nothing left to give, just a hollow silence wrapping around me, like the dark. My eyes burned, my throat ached, feeling more disgusted with each passing second on the cold floor, locked away, hoping that when I woke up, this would all be some awful, twisted dream. My eyes burned, my throat ached, feeling more disgusted with each passing second on the cold floor, locked away, hoping that when I woke up, this would all be some awful, twisted dream. My eyes flew open with a jolt, chest rising and falling rapidly as I sat up, not fully understanding what woke me, but knowing something wasn't right. I was in bed, my bed. My hands touched the sheets, confused. My fingers rose to my face, brushing across my damp cheeks, and then my forehead. Cold sweat clung to my skin, my hair sticking at the edges. I looked around the room, eyes darting to the corners. Last night, I was in the bathroom. I locked the door. I remembered the floor, the cold tiles, crying until my body gave out. But how was I on my bed now? Was it a dream? I whispered to myself. My voice didn't even sound like mine, but no dream leaves you like this. I reached out with trembling fingers and grabbed my phone from the nightstand, flipping it over. No missed calls, no messages, nothing from Jungkook. My lips pressed together, and I let out a breath, shaky, unsure. I dragged myself out of the bed, legs stiff, and padded toward the mirror. My reflection stared back at me, swollen eyes, red blotches on my cheeks, hair a mess. I looked exactly like someone who cried herself unconscious on a bathroom floor. It wasn't a dream. I knew that now. My body remembered, even if my brain wanted to forget. But if it wasn't a dream, how did I end up here? How did I go from locking myself inside that small, cold bathroom to waking up tucked into my bed? I gripped the edge of the sink, suddenly feeling lightheaded. Was he? I felt a fresh wave of nausea rise in my throat, and I closed my eyes to steady myself. My mind was playing tricks on me, or maybe not. Maybe this was real, and I just couldn't make sense of it yet. I didn't know what scared me more, the thought that I dreamt it all, or the reality that I didn't. I didn't know what scared me more, the thought that I dreamt it all, or the reality that I didn't. Finally, after 3 hours of locking myself in the room, trying to figure it out if I was losing my mind or not, no one knocked, no one came to call me for breakfast. thank God. But when my stomach started growling loud enough for me to feel it in my ears, I knew I had to leave the room. Now the bitter scent of coffee grounded me more than anything else had since I woke up. I wrapped both hands around the mug like it could offer some kind of comfort, warmth, safety. It didn't, but I needed the lie, had to, at least pretend everything was normal even though nothing was. Morning, a voice came behind me, way too casual. My spine stiffened. I turned slowly, and there he stood sleepy-eyed. He walked in like nothing happened, like the night before didn't exist, like he hadn't. Didn't see you at breakfast, he said, casually grabbing a banana off the counter. Whatcha mackin', coffee? I didn't answer. I just stared at him. He smiled, like we were friends. Please make me a cup too? I barely slept. Came home early morning from my friend's place, and I swear, I feel like I've been hit by a truck. My heart dropped to the pit of my stomach. Friend's place? You weren't home last night? He blinked at me confused, or pretending to be. What? No, I told Mom I was going out to stay the night. Didn't feel like driving back, late, so I just crashed there. Why? Don't lie, I whispered, taking a step back. He frowned, leaning his head. Lie? About what? I stared at him for a second longer, something inside me boiling, despite the fear curling in gut. How did I end up in bed last night? He blinked. Huh? I straightened, my voice firmer now even if I felt like I was about to throw up. I was in the bathroom. I locked the door. I remember. That? How did I end up in my bed? He furrowed his brows like I was saying something completely ridiculous. What are you talking about, Yin? My fingers clenched into fists at my sides. I could hear my pulse thudding in my ears. You were in my room. He scoffed lightly, the sound forced and careless. Okay, you're gonna have to slow down. You aren't making any sense. Stop pretending. You had a bad dream or something, or you didn't sleep last night. Why would I be in your room? You think I'm stupid? I wanted to scream at him, shove him, anything. No, he said softly. I think you're scared from the nightmare, and you're making things up in your head because you're alone here and missing your husband. That one hurt. I felt it deep. He stepped closer, walking towards the cabinet above me. I'm just gonna grab the sugar, he said and reached above, his hand on my waist. My whole body tensed like a coil ready to snap. I flinched and jerked away instantly, yanking his hand off me. Could you not? I snapped, heart slamming in my chest. The touch of last night becoming more clear, the disgust she felt. He blinked like a dumb idiot. Not what? Don't touch me like that. He raised his hands in mock surrender. Whoa, hey, sorry, didn't mean anything. Thought we were chill. We're not, I almost yelled. So don't do it again. Never touch me again. What's going on here? Mrs. Jian walked in, her brows raised. Nick smiled, all sugar and shine. Nothing, Mom. My sister-in-law just had a bad dream last night. Apparently I was in her room and now she's all pissy about it. My eyes widened. Stop lying. It wasn't a dream and you know damn well you came in my room. I yelled, training my eyes to her. Annie, believe me, he came last night in my room and he touched me. He said all those disgusting things. Yin, there's no need to be dramatic, my mother-in-law said, my mouth parted in shock at the dismissive tone of her. Nick leaned against the counter, playing the innocent puppy. She probably just imagined something, Mom. I wasn't even here. Tell her mom that I left early to crash at my friend's place. My chest rose and fell rapidly, the air suddenly too thick to breathe. I couldn't believe it. They were both standing there, talking like I was some confused, dramatic little girl who just couldn't tell reality from a bad dream. Are you saying I'm lying? My voice trembled, but my eyes didn't. Mrs. Jian sighed as if I was making her morning tea turn bitter. Yin, sweetie, no one's accusing you of lying. But Nick is right, he wasn't here last night. I saw him leave. He wasn't here. How was that possible? Maybe you just got too overwhelmed yesterday. You're going through something clearly, but taking it out on Nick isn't fair. He wouldn't do anything inappropriate. He's like a son to me. And why don't you believe me? I'm not lying. I'm not overwhelmed. Yeah, I whispered bitterly. And I'm just the outsider. She crossed her arms. No one said that. You didn't have to. There is no way to get sentimental. Just do breakfast. Take a shower. Maybe that will clear your head. And then she turned around and left the kitchen, while I stood frozen. In the kitchen, every part of my body buzzing with anger, confusion, and fear. He looked at me again, taking step towards her. Since you are clearly not making coffee for me, I'll take this. he said, taking cup from my hand. You should really get some rest. Bad dreams mess with your head. I felt sick. I felt so damn small standing there, while the man who invaded my room smirked. He left the kitchen and his mother acted like I was the problem. I felt sick. I felt so damn small standing there, while the man who invaded my room smirked. He left the kitchen and his mother acted like I was the problem. Jungkook's POV. The car ride home felt longer than usual, maybe because I was more tired than I thought. My head was buzzing from the meetings and back-to-back reports, but the second I pulled up in front of the house, the buzz quieted. Home. I killed the engine and sat there for a moment, just letting myself breathe. My fingers wrapped around the spare key I kept tucked in my wallet, and I walked toward the door quietly, not wanting to make a big entrance. It was late, lights were mostly out, maybe everyone was asleep. I tiptoed inside, setting my bag down by the wall, stretching my neck with a tired sigh. God, my shoulders were stiff. All I wanted was a hot shower and yin. Just seeing her would fix everything. I headed toward our room, steps light, not wanting to startle her, maybe surprise her instead, but as I reached for the doorknob, it didn't budge, locked. My brows furrowed, fingers twisting the knob again, just to be sure. Why would she lock the door? She never did before. Maybe she just forgot, or maybe she wasn't feeling well. Oh brother, came Nick's voice from behind. I turned to see him, walking out from the kitchen area, holding a glass of water, a wide grin plastered on his face. Hey, I said, the locked door still bothering me in the back of my mind. Nick came over and wrapped me in a hug, clapping my back like he used to years ago. You're back early. Wrap things up a little ahead of schedule, I said, returning the hug. Didn't feel like staying another night there. I get that, he laughed, stepping back. I miss this, being home, spending time with you, man. It's like old times. Yeah, I was thinking the same. I nodded. We'll catch up properly tomorrow. Boys' night out, yeah? Hell yes, he grinned. God, I was worried marriage turned you into some boring family man. I laughed lightly, running a hand through my hair. It's not like that. Yeah, things change, but not who you are, you know? He nodded, smile crooked. Good, glad to know you're still you. There was a pause, a short breath of silence between us. Yin's home, right? I asked, eyes drifting back toward our locked bedroom door. Nick tilted his head. Yeah, she should be. She was around earlier. You met Mom yet? He asked. Not yet, I said. She is awake. Yep, he nodded. I'll be in Mom room, so if you want to come there, we will spend time like the old times. Sure. He patted my shoulder and walked off down the hallway. I stared after him, then turned back to the door. I thought about knocking, but something in me hesitated. But he didn't have enough energy to overthink it. With a sigh, I stepped back and walked toward Mom room. Sure. He patted my shoulder and walked off down the hallway. I stared after him, then turned back to the door. I thought about knocking, but something in me hesitated. But he didn't have enough energy to overthink it. With a sigh, I stepped back and walked toward Mom room. After an hour of talking with Nick and Mom, all I could think about was crashing in my bed. I was tired, my bones felt like they were cracking, and my head was starting to throb with that dull ache from the drive. I made my way to our bedroom again, but it was still locked, of course. She really locked it, I mumbled, surprised. Yin didn't usually do that. I mean, sure, she liked privacy, but locking the door at night? A sigh slipped past my lips. I didn't want to sleep on the couch, not when was dreaming of our bed the whole drive home. So I made my way to the drawer near the hallway cabinet, the one where we kept extra batteries, pens, random crap, and the spare key. Found it. I unlocked the door quietly and stepped inside. The room was dim, the curtains still drawn, my eyes finding Yin figure, who was Yin, curled into herself on her side, the blanket pulled up, halfway. My heart settled a little. I was worrying for no reason. Closing the door behind me softly, I locked it again. Then I started peeling off my shirt and pants, too damn tired to even bother with a shower. I tossed my clothes on the chair and sat on the edge of the bed for a second, running a hand through my hair. God, this bed. I slid under the covers, careful not to disturb her, and let out a long breath. My eyes closed for a second, until I turned on my side and reached for her. I gently slid my arm around her waist, pulling her against me with a quiet sigh. Just a little piece. That's all I wanted. But that's not what I got. Get off me. Her voice split the silence like a whip. Yin, I blinked confused. Baby, it's me. Don't touch me. Get off me. Get off me. She thrashed in my arms, her nails scratching, her feet kicking under the sheets like she was drowning. My heart shot to my throat. Hey Yin, what the hell, baby? It's okay. No, she cried. Don't. Please don't do it again, please don't. I said no. I said no. Shit. I scrambled backward, grabbing my phone off the nightstand and fumbling with it until the flashlight turned on. The room lit up in pale white light. It's me, love, I said gently, lowering the light so it wouldn't blind her. It's Jungkook, your husband. It's just me. She froze. For a second, she didn't move, just stared at me like she didn't even recognize my face. Then she threw herself into my arms. Jungkook, she sobbed. Jungkook, Jungkook. My arms wrapped around her instantly, holding her tight. Her body trembled violently, her tears soaking into my chest. She was breathing so fast I was scared she might pass out. Hey, it's okay, I whispered, pressing my lips to her temple. It's all right now. I'm here. You're okay. It was just a nightmare, sweetheart. You're safe. No, she choked out, pulling back slightly, her face twisted with panic and pain. No, it wasn't a nightmare. It wasn't. He was here. Jungkook, he was here. He was on top of me. I couldn't move. He tried to. Her voice cracked. It wasn't a dream. I swear, Jungkook, Nick. Nick was. I went still. Nick? I blinked, my hands still on her back, trying to understand what the hell she was saying. Hey baby, slow down, I said, cupping her face. You were just sleeping, okay? You locked the door. No one came in. It was just a night. Stop, she screamed, pushing my hands away. You don't believe me either, Yin. It wasn't a dream. Why does no one believe me? I'm not making this up, Jungkook. My mouth opened, but he don't know what to say. She kept going, tears pouring down her cheeks, her breathing more ragged than ever. I locked the door, and when I woke up, it wasn't locked. I was on my bed. He was inside that night. He touched me, Jungkook. He touched me. I'm not crazy, she whispered. I'm not crazy. My heart shattered. I dropped the phone onto the bed and pulled her back into my arms, holding her tighter than before. She resisted for half a second, then broke completely. Her fists hit my chest, weak and trembling, until they gave out and she clung again, burying her face into me like she was ashamed of breathing. I believe you, I whispered. I didn't even know what I was saying. My head couldn't process anything, but my mouth moved on instinct. I believe you, Yin. I'm here. I've got you. No one's gonna hurt you again. She didn't say anything, she just kept crying, and I sat there, frozen and helpless, holding the woman I loved while everything inside me shattered like glass. Because if what she said was true, if Nick really did what she's saying, then everyone going to pay for it. She didn't say anything, she just kept crying, and I sat there, frozen and helpless, holding the woman I loved while everything inside me shattered like glass. Because if what she said was true, if Nick really did what she's saying, then everyone going to pay for it. The morning light peeked through the edge of the curtains, warming the room inch by inch. But I didn't move. I just lay there, my arms still wrapped around her. She was still asleep, peaceful now, her breathing steady against my chest. But even in her rest, she looked fragile. Her face was tucked close to my collarbone. I hadn't slept much, 2 hours, maybe 3 at most. And even those hours were restless. I kept waking up, glancing down at her, brushing hair from her face, just to make sure she was still breathing okay, that her body had stopped shaking, that she wasn't about to start crying all over again. Because last night, she scared the hell out of me. I never seen her like that. I never seen anyone like that, actually, not even in my worst memories. The way she thrashed, the way she screamed, the way her voice cracked when she said my brother's name. I exhaled slowly, my hand moving gently up to her head. I stroked her hair, slow and careful, like she might break if I pressed too hard. My mind was a mess. Everything she said, it was real to her. So real that even now, hours later, I could still feel the way her body tensed when I held her. The fear didn't go away, not even in her sleep. If I closed my eyes, I could still hear her saying, "You don't believe me, either." God, I wasn't even sure what to believe. But I knew one thing for sure, someone hurt her. Someone made her feel unsafe. and that wasn't just something I could ignore. Even if the details weren't clear to me, the pain in her voice was enough. She shifted slightly, and I blinked down. Her eyes fluttered open, slow and tired, and then they locked onto mine, and my heart cracked. They were swollen, puffy like she'd been crying for days, not just one night. "Hey," I whispered softly, brushing her hair back with my fingers. "How are you feeling?" She didn't answer at first, just blinked at me. Then her voice came out, barely even that, just a breath. "Really better, because you're here." God, even her voice sounded painful, like it hurt her to speak. "I wrapped my work early," I murmured, fingers brushing her cheek. "Now, because I missed you so much." She blinked again, and this time her eyes brimmed shiny wet. "I missed you too so much." Her voice broke on the last words, like her throat was dry, and I swore I felt a piece of my heart break off and fall with her. "Yin," I whispered, reaching out to hold her closer. But she shook her head, eyes falling shut as she leaned into me, burying her face in my neck like she wanted to hide from the world. Again, her fingers curled tightly around the front of my chest. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what she needed. "Did you eat something last night?" I asked gently, rubbing slow circles on her back. She shook her head. "No." I leaned back a little, trying to meet her eyes. "Should we go and eat something then?" "I'm not hungry, but I can hear your stomach growling, baby," I said, trying to lighten the mood. I poked at her tummy gently like a tickle. "Nothing." I sighed softly, brushing my lips against her forehead. "You don't want to go outside?" Another shake of the head. "Do you want me to bring your breakfast here?" She just stared at me, and then after a few seconds, she nodded. "Okay," I whispered, kissing the top of her head again. "I'll bring it right here, yeah." I started to shift away, just enough to get up, but suddenly her fingers tightened around my arm. "Hey," I looked down at her. "I have to get up to bring breakfast, sweetheart." Her eyes looked up at me wide and frightened again, not like she was scared of me, but scared of being without me, just for a minute. So I leaned down and kissed her face, her cheeks, her eyelids, her nose. "Just for a few minutes," I said gently. "I'll be right back." That's when the knock came on the door. 3 sharp, loud knocks. Her grip tightened around me. "It's okay, I'll see who it is." She slowly let go of me, hands trembling just slightly. I kissed her forehead once more, slid out from under the covers, and stood up. I walked to the door, unlocked it, and opened it. "Hey, if you lovebirds are awake." Nick grinned. "Come on out. Mom's made breakfast. I'll come in a bit." Nick stepped forward slightly, peeking his head into the room. "Hi, sister-in-law." I turned to glance back at Yin. She was sitting up in bed now, half covered by the blanket. Her hands had curled into the sheets. Nick gave her a little wave, then looked back at me. "She looks like she just saw a ghost." I didn't respond. He tilted his head a little, like he was confused at my silence, then shrugged casually. "Anyway, I'll go grab some juice. Come down when you can." He walked away. I didn't move for a long moment, then I turned back toward the bed. "I'll bring your breakfast up, yeah?" No answer again. She just stared at the door, at the space where Nick was standing before, and something inside me twisted tight and sharp, because I was starting to feel it too. Whatever happened, it wasn't her nightmare. No answer again. She just stared at the door, at the space where Nick was standing before, and something inside me twisted tight and sharp, because I was starting to feel it too. Whatever happened, it wasn't her nightmare. It took me 2 damn hours to piece it all together. 2 hours of silently sitting beside Yin, with her curled up on my lap, her cheek pressed to my thigh, her arms wrapped around her knees, my hand gently stroking her hair as I tried to stay calm for her. Earlier, when Mom asked why we weren't joining them for breakfast, I just shrugged and said, "Yin's not feeling well." I couldn't say anything else, not when the truth was something no one in this house seemed ready to hear. I brought breakfast up to our room and sat with her while she picked at the toast like it was cardboard. And then she spoke and I listened. I held her when she was done, kissed her forehead, whispered into her hair, "I believe you." Because I did. She had no reason to lie or make up things. He know her well enough. She wasn't confused. She wasn't dreaming. I needed proof, not for me, just to show them. Not when Nick was walking around this house like nothing happened, laughing, joking, eating with my family like he hadn't tried to hurt my wife. So I pulled out my phone, opened the hidden folder with the CCTV feed, a camera I installed 8 months ago after someone tried to break-in, just one angled in the hall to catch the entrance kitchen and the door to our bedroom, which was miracle. I never really checked it after that day until now. I muted the sound and started scrolling through the clips. It was all time-stamped. The day I left, the next night, 1:42 a.m. The clip loaded. Nick was standing there in the hallway, glanced behind him, then slowly turned the knob and opened the bedroom door. He went inside. 15 minutes passed. I watched the timer tick by, every second sinking heavier into my chest. Then the door opened again. He came out fast, looking left and right, breathing hard, slamming the door shut behind him. My hand curled, tighter in yin hair, but I forced it to stay gentle. I clicked forward. A few hours later, he came back. At first, I thought he was headed somewhere else, but then he paused, turned, walked back toward our room. He opened drawers, flipped through things, yelled something but I couldn't hear. Thank God the camera didn't have audio, because if I heard even a whisper of what he said, I might have thrown the phone. He looked frantic, like he was searching for something. Then he stormed off again inside our bedroom. Almost an hour later he was back, and that's when my blood ran cold. Even the day I arrived he kept checking the door a while ago, but it was locked. I wonder how Yin was feeling all this time, how much she had felt while I was away. While I wasn't there to protect her, I felt nauseous, just thinking about her condition. I tried to calm myself down, but the more I look at her fragile form, the more I want to split someone head open. So I carefully lifted her head and settled her on the pillow. Then I walked out of the room. The laughter coming from the kitchen made my blood boil. It was Nick laughing with my mother, like nothing had happened. So I carefully lifted her head and settled her on the pillow. Then I walked out of the room. The laughter coming from the kitchen made my blood boil. It was Nick laughing with my mother, like nothing had happened. Like my wife hadn't cried herself to sleep in my arms last night, whispering about the way he touched her. I stepped into the kitchen like a storm, and everything around me blurred except one target: him. My feet moved before my brain did. I crossed the room like a storm, grabbed Nick by the collar of his shirt, and slammed him back against the fridge so hard it rattled. What the? My fist landed before he could finish the sentence. His jaw twisted sideways as he stumbled, crashing into a chair. Jungkook, Mom screamed, dropping the knife. What the hell are you doing? Nick clutched his jaw, blood blooming at the corner of his mouth. Are you crazy? No, my voice was low, deadly. But I will be if I don't get this out of my system. I grabbed him again, dragging him upright and slamming him into the counter this time. How dare you touch my wife? I growled, my face inches from his. Nick blinked, eyes wide. What the hell are you talking about? My fist connected with his ribs this time, hard. I didn't hold back. How dare you lay your filthy hands on her? You sick piece of shit. Stop. My mom screamed again. Jungkook, what is wrong with you? Don't. I snapped at her, not taking my eyes off Nick. Don't you dare ask me what's wrong with me when your precious son was trying to hurt my wife. You're fucking crazy. She's making things up, Nick shouted, desperately, spit flying from his lips. You weren't even there. You don't know. I do know. I growled, grabbing his shirt again. You were like my brother. I trusted you with my family, my wife, and you turned into a predator right under our roof. Nick's eyes were panicked now. He kept trying to pull away, but I slammed him against the counter again. Jungkook, listen. No, I snapped, pushing him back. You don't talk, not anymore. My mother grabbed my arm then, trying to pull me back. Stop this. You're scaring me. Jungkook, this isn't like you. What is wrong with you? I turned to her slowly, eyes burning. What's wrong with me? What is wrong with you? She begged you to believe her, and you brushed it off like she was overreacting. You didn't even look at her properly. Her face scrunched in confusion. She said something happened. I thought she had a nightmare. She wasn't eating. She was scared around him. She didn't came out of her room for the whole day, and you didn't even ask why. My mom's lips parted, but she said nothing. You believe her over me, Hyung. I am your brother. I have CCTV footage, you piece of shit. I roared, grabbing him by the collar again and dragging him up. His face paled instantly. You didn't know, huh? Nick stepped forward. Hyung, please listen. I turned to him sharply. Get out. He blinked. What? Get out of my house. You're not welcome here, ever again. You are as good as dead to us. Get your shit and get out. Hyung, if you come near this house or my wife again, if I so much as hear you mention her name, I'll break every fucking bone in your body. Nick opened his mouth, but my glare shut him up. But Mom stepped forward, still trying to catch up, but I raised a hand, stopping her. I don't care who he is. If you want to defend him even after what he did, go ahead, but you won't see me again either. With one last glare at Nick, I turned around and walked away, straight back up the stairs, straight back to the only person who mattered to me. With one last glare at Nick, I turned around and walked away, straight back up the stairs, straight back to the only person who mattered to me. The city lights blurred outside the car window, painting everything in soft colors. Yin was beside me, wearing one of my oversized hoodies that swallowed her small frame. She hadn't even bothered to change, her hair messy, face bare, but to me, she was still the most beautiful thing in this entire damn world. We were parked near the old ice cream truck at the edge of the park, the one we once sneaked out to eat at middle of the night. Come with me, I said gently, holding out my hand. Let's go get some ice cream. She looked down at herself, tugging on the hem of the hoodie. I didn't even change my clothes. You would still look beautiful even if you wore a plastic bag, I said, seriously, tucking my fingers under her chin to tilt her face up. That earned me the tiniest eye roll and a shy smile she tried to hide. Now you're just making things up. I'm not. The windows were half rolled down, and a light breeze floated in, playing with a few strands of her hair. She didn't say anything, just kept gazing out at the sunset like it was the first time she'd seen it. I turned slightly in my seat, resting my elbow casually against the door but keeping my whole focus on her. I think she felt it because she turned to me slowly, blinking those big tired eyes at me. What? She asked, voice small. I shook my head with a soft smile. Nothing. Just, you're pretty. Her cheeks flushed a soft pink, and she ducked her head a little like she was trying to hide it. Right then, the server tapped lightly on the window and handed me the bag with our ice creams. I thanked him, passed her the one I knew was her favorite without even looking at the labels. 2 scoops, strawberry and vanilla twist, in a waffle cone. Here, I said, handing her the cone carefully. She took a small lick of her ice cream, closing her eyes like she was trying to taste summer itself. Good? I asked. She nodded, and I took a bite of my own cone and pretended to think really hard. I think mine's better. She narrowed her eyes at me. You didn't even taste mine. I smirked, leaning closer. Then let me taste yours. Before she could move away, I dipped my head, stealing a soft kiss, right from the corner of her mouth where a little bit of strawberry ice cream clung. She gasped, eyes wide, a blush spreading on her cheeks. I grinned against her lips. I underestimated your taste so much better. Her cheeks flared pink instantly, blooming color across her pale skin. She quickly turned her head away, pretending to look out the window, but I could see her lips twitching. She was fighting a shy smile. You're such a flirt, she mumbled under her breath, still not looking at me. Because I love this blush of yours. She stuck her tongue out at me childishly, like literally stuck it out, and I laughed. God, she was magic without even trying. I reached over, pulling her closer by the hoodie strings she was wearing until her head was leaning against my shoulder. She didn't resist. She just sighed, soft and warm, cuddling into me. Thank you. I glanced down at her, my thumb automatically brushing over the back of her hand that rested on my thigh. For what, baby? For believing me. Her voice was so small, like the words themselves hurt to push out. I tilted my head, resting my chin lightly against the top of hers. Hey, I said softly, rubbing her knuckles with my thumb. You never have to thank me for that. Never. She stayed quiet, just breathing, her fingers slowly curling into the fabric of my jeans. I'm sorry it even had to come to this, I whispered, tightening my arm around her shoulders. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me the most. If I could take even a second of your pain away, I would. I swear, Yin. She let out a shaky breath, her body sagging more into me like she was finally letting go of something heavy. I believe you, I said again, even if the whole world didn't, even if it was just your word against everything else, I'd still believe you, every single time. She sniffed, and I felt the tiniest nod against my shoulder. I love you, I whispered, pressing a soft kiss to her hair, and I'm gonna make sure you never feel alone like that again. She didn't say anything back. She didn't have to. Her arms tightened around me, the way she buried her face deeper into my hoodie. It was enough. It was everything. We stayed like that for a long. No words, just heartbeats, just healing, just us.